Fa 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 da 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 da. I apologize in advance to those who love this series, but this episode is one of the worst I've ever seen. So let's just get started. We immediately pick up from the last episode. Ciri comes into the heart of the magical forest, but these light sources take me out of the moment. Light arrays amplify a scene, but a light source is a point of interest. Dryads surprise Ciri and are combat ready. I just don't understand why some of the Dryads are pointing their spear towards their target and others at the ground. The Dryads escort her through the forest and communicate in Elder, the language of the elves, an ancient language. It's a nice touch connecting them to a culture of the past. A group of zombie-like Dryads patiently wait in front of the light bulb and move in sync. It's just weird. A quick introduction is exchanged and we cut to the title card. A burly man covered in grime in the pub telling the tale of the Witcher. This scene is a definite win. Jaskier the Bard, with his humorous self, interrupts the flow of seriousness and lightens the mood. Geralt the Witcher makes a dramatic entrance, proclaiming he's killed the beast and will take his coin. Jaskier does his job and gets the whole town to sing the song of the Witcher. Coin is given to him promptly. Jaskier says many elaborate things to Geralt. The only thing that grasps Geralt's attention is
food, women, and wine, Geralt.
Yup, that will do it. An intimate moment between Geralt and Jaskier shows how comfortable Jaskier is around grumpy old naked men.
And yet, here we are.
Neat. Also, Jaskier giving Geralt the only clean clothes he has to help him at a wedding for the princess.
Why are you dressed like a sad silk trader?
Geralt clearly opposes to all this, but I think he secretly enjoys the finer things in life. Nothing is better than having friends catch up, describing details to him that are important for us to know as well. Jaskier is confronted by a man who claims,
"Something about you reminds me of a scoundrel I once saw fleeing my wife's chambers."
Geralt saves him by convincing this man that he's a eunuch. The queen comes in, bloodied and bruised from her recent battle. And it's kinda cool, and I gotta admit that. Hopefully I make this point as clear and concise as possible. The queen is deliberately not acting like what a quote-unquote queen might act like. If she wants to act like a boorish male whom are often filled with testosterone, doing abrasive things, then I find it weird she blames quote-unquote male traditions later in the episode after she just claimed she, as the matriarch, needed to prove who was the queen by slaying and killing on the battlefield, which is built in the male DNA to fight physically in that manner, then to later bitch that she has to act like royalty to then blame men for having a queen act prim and proper. I always find it off-putting when privileged women complain about quote-unquote patriarchy or male society. You're the most privileged person in the entire kingdom. You can make the order to change the custom if you so choose. You have all the power in the world, yet can still find some reason to say man equals bad. With that being said, let's continue. The queen converses with her daughter in a lovely, real situation. Marry for tradition and then having whomever you want on the side. Ciri walks with the Dryads with the light bulbs shown on screen. It looks like it was shot by someone who just got into film school and this was their first project. The head Dryad's voice sounds like Teresa from the video game Fable 3, which was such an amazing game for me personally, even though it gets a lot of hate and I understand that. It's a nostalgic throwback moment for me and I absolutely love that. Next, we hear Dara moaning in pain in the background. Ciri rushes over in worry. My biggest issue with this is, why did the Dryads save him? I thought they shot Dara in episode 3 because of him being a male, as their culture is driven by only having women in their ranks. Saving Ciri because she was either a woman or they knew she was entranced by the forest calling out to her. Is it because he was an elf? How did they know he was an elf unless they went over to go and check him? So then why was he shot in the first place? I just don't get it. A couple of men get in a feud bluffing to each other about the manticore they both claimed they slain. Geralt suggests that they may have killed subspecies of manticore, but not the real thing. When pressed by the queen about Geralt's tale of slaying the elves upon the mountain, he confesses it was all a lie and tells the ugly and disappointing truth. This impresses the queen, and she invites him to sit with her. Look at all those light bulbs in blatant view. Ciri and Dara, which I just realized have 4 letters in each of their names, which is a pretty neat and little fun fact, share a little bit more about each other. Ciri reveals that she's the granddaughter of Queen Calanthe, who gave the order to slay Dara's people in the most brutal fashion. I give Wilson, the actor of Dara, props for his acting playing Dara in the scene. I truly do. But the reveal of his people being murdered and killed, I personally think it would have been much better if it was revealed with Ciri discovering a desecrated town of Dara's with Dara. Dara still being a mute leads her to some of the bodies and of them being mutilated and buries them. Ciri pieces it all together and receives insight on what happened. The plot here feels rushed. I love the acting, I really do. I commend him on it, but the plot feels rushed. This episode gets under my skin in the worst possible way, because in episode 1, I mentioned that Renfri's voice reminding Geralt that Ciri is his destiny, a great way to end the episode and planting seeds for future events. The issue is that they say the word destiny too many times in this episode. It really makes me regret having said that destiny is a lovely thing in a fantasy. Here they go overboard. Geralt and Queen Calanthe share a good conversation. She foreshadows the battle that breaks out later, knowing full well the knight who was entitled to the hand of the princess would show up. Geralt wonderfully says outright,
"Hey, I can't help you."
So perilously direct.
An awkward suitor comes forth to describe about his potent seed. It's a bit weird, but I love it. Queen Calanthe roasts him in front of everyone. No wonder she is hated by everyone, and pretty much everyone wants her dead. We cut to Yennefer, who is escorting a queen who complains about her husband, a king, for demanding a son when she has only been able to produce daughters.
Poor Queen Carlis. Another girl.
Yennefer mentioning that she's been in the Order for roughly 30 years made me assume that she was immortal or something. But after a second run through, I think she doesn't look like she ages, but it actually like she's 50 or something. Because of her physical transformation making her look permanently young in episode 3, it may still be that she can live for hundreds of years, or that she is actually still aging but permanently looking at that age. I'm not real too certain, but I do like the idea of it. But what I also like about the scene is that Yennefer holds a baby. I'm not going to say it foreshadows anything, but it feels so much like a foreshadowing moment, because she later tries to save the baby, not the queen. It's at least planting the seed, and I love that. I'm not a fan of overtly gruesome and over-the-top deaths, but I gotta admit, this shot is amazing. I thought the scene with the assassin and creature was a delightful shock, for the creature did all of this, not a band of thieves, but a magical creature. What I don't like is how it felt a bit Hollywoody. I don't understand why the creature went back to the assassin that far back, if the point was to kill the queen. Look how far it has to run to get back to the carriage. Why couldn't it have hidden behind the carriage or even on top of it? Also, he doesn't even send the creature until they are literally escaping. It doesn't show that he gets his kicks from scaring his victims, so I'm still baffled as to why the scene is constructed this way. Revealing to the queen that an assassin is after her because of her not producing a male heir. That is brutal. Even though this guard had a violent end, it still was the most humane, quick, and seemingly painless death compared to the rest of the guards outside the carriage. It is a very bittersweet moment. The queen bitching out her one and only protector leads Yennefer to port the heck out of there. Where did she port to? Because she looks surprised that she ported there. Why did she come back to save the queen? Did she just need a breather? We cut to Jaskier, Geralt, and Queen Calanthe's story. Jaskier is singing a weird song about Puck fucking and fawns of sons or something. Queen Calanthe, being a privileged white woman, bitching about male traditions. Stupid men, how dare you!
How dare you!
Geralt explains how there is no way to create any more Witchers. He's one of the last of his kind. A knight shows up, smashing guards in the face. The knight's face is revealed to show he's a cursed knight. He's a porcupine. The queen orders for his death, and Geralt saves this knight. A fight breaks out, mainly by men. The queen orders everyone to stop. But now she doesn't like male tradition of fighting? You slay me, queen. When we get back to the assassin, the queen begs for her daughter to be sacrificed as tribute. The assassin kills her, then goes for the baby. This scene was amazing. Yennefer comes back and kills the creature. The speed at which she kills the creature begs the question as to why they were running all this time if it was literally a simple wave of the hand to make something disappear. White women are something special, let me tell you.
White women are something special, man.
white women are so... A bitch almost died and you made it about you. How the fuck?
It takes her roughly 45 seconds of screen time to get back here. It takes 3 seconds to teleport herself, about 5 seconds to realize where she was, about 3 seconds to kill the creature. She had to arrive beforehand before killing the creature, so let's just say another 3 seconds. So in roughly 30 seconds, she had the revelation to go back here and save the queen and baby, literally leaving them alone in front of the assassin, who is hell-bent on killing them, attacking without hesitation. He sent his creature without remorse at every chance he could, yet he listens to her? Why? Why? Oh! Fortunately, the assassin stalled long enough for the plot to continue. I guess that's a... This death scene hit me hard. Not only was the daughter a baby, but Yennefer couldn't get a break when it comes to children. Truly saddening. Cutting to the Cursed Knight, pleading to the queen and explaining the law of surprise he's owed from saving Queen Calenthe's husband years ago. I have already criticized destiny in this episode, and they just layer it on too many times here.
Destiny has determined the surprise be Pavetta.
The Witcher throws destiny on its back, giving an example of the ridiculousness of destiny. But a promise is still a promise, and must be upheld. The queen surrenders her weapon and tells the knight,
Here is your destiny.
Unsheathing a dagger and plunging it into the night, the princess unleashes her magic. We know Princess Ciri has magic, and it being hereditary is not much of a stretch. It's believable, but this entire scene in the banquet hall of her pushing everyone away just seems so over the top. It's not much of a reveal, it's just a plot twist. The queen proceeds to stab the princess's love. The princess knocks everyone back with her magic, that she inherited from her own mother? I don't know. Magic is rather rare in this universe. Even Mousesack in the first episode was shown to have magic, but it had a cost. I even complained that they just revealed his magic, when the plot required him to use magic. Mousesack could have used the magic to entertain the guests in the first episode, so we are aware of his potential, then amplifying his ability later on when his magic is required to be used. Same thing here. They should have had an offhand remark about her magic or her questionable childhood that would make this reveal more believable. If I was to ask the producers or writers of the show, I would assume their reply to the question, why does she have magic, would be, she just does. How did she get her magic? She just does. Why is her magic so powerful? She just does. She even starts chanting Elder, the language of the elves. How did she know this magic? She just does. Where did she learn this language? She just does. Did she go into a trance and the magic is possessing her? She just does. Why is she spinning in the opposite direction of the spinning vortex they are in? She just does. After Geralt knocks them out from above, the queen's future husband, East, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, says,
Do you believe in destiny now?
What the fuck does that have anything to do with destiny? We are human. We don't know everything, especially the intersecting actions that cause all things to happen. The most successful people within society believe they can control their own destiny and actually affect change. Usually people who are the least successful are those who believe that everything is preordained and happens to them. There are things that I can't control, but there are things that I can. That's the difference that makes the difference in the quality of people's lives. Everyone is now hunky-dory and settled on the princess marrying the porcupine. It's just weird looking. Cutting to Ciri having visions of the slaughtering of the elves, an order given by her grandmother, Queen Calanthe. It just occurred to me now that when the leader of the Dryads said,
All newcomers to the forest must drink the waters. If they're pure in heart, they survive and may stay here.
where are the other men in the entire world who are living here? Why would any man not want to live in a tribe filled with thinly clothed women? The unfortunate truth might be that they only kept him alive because he was an elf, not a human. But can I also say it might be because he was black? Diversity higher in movies and shows, having them becoming more quote-unquote woke, is unfortunate. I want to think Wilson, the actor who plays Dara, got his role not because he was black, but because he wanted to play an elf and got the position from his merit. Unfortunately, movies are not made that way. I might be reading too much into the scene and could just attribute this to bad writing. I really hope it's just bad writing. Then the leader utters something quite puzzling.
Shankayam calls to you.
Yennefer coming to a realization that life is meaningless for her, but still hurt by the baby's death. She buries the baby in a shallow grave on the beach, which will definitely be uncovered and the baby will wash out to sea when the tide comes in. This grave is an element of both caring and not caring at the same time. It's a visceral way to show us of her disconnecting from this world. The queen gives her blessing and marries her daughter with the Cursed Knight. After the marriage, he is cured from the curse. He asks Geralt anything he so wishes, and from an offhand remark, he jokingly says,
I claim the tradition as you have. The lore of surprise.
Then the princess throws up. So if I got this right, the two met while the knight was a porcupine and they had sex. Man, rich white women, I tell you what. I know that Geralt was joking when he made that remark, but could he not have said coin or something? If they made a point that he couldn't impregnate the princess because he was her cursed knight, then this quote would have had so much more weight behind it. It just seems like they needed to have Geralt and Ciri together, and bam! They found a way. Geralt and Mousesack have a moment and share parting words. Heading to the present, we see the aftermath of the siege on the kingdom. Dark sorcerers use their dark magic. It is disgusting, but it's such a nice touch. Their magic is potent and precise, but requires much sacrifice. I love this magic system. It reminds me of the Warlock in World of Warcraft. Dark magic that requires much sacrifice. I respect stories with consequence from action. They know where Ciri is and head there. Mousesack is caught and takes something from the queen in a hurry. I don't know what it is, and I don't think we see this item again, which begs the question as to why he took it in the first place. I do give the actress Jodie, if I'm saying her name correctly, who plays Queen Calanthe. It's weird to give props for a person's acting for being dead, but her facial expression while being dead and being able to maintain that throughout is rather impressive, and I gotta give her props for that. Another light bulb! Yay! Oh, there's another one. The Dryads lead Ciri to the source of the water's magic and tell her to drink the tree's sap. She has a moment experiencing this wonderful and most beautiful scene with a tree in a desert. And scene. Hopefully I was able to make my points clearly and concisely and was entertaining for you. With that being said, please post your comments, questions, and concerns right down below. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button because that would greatly help this channel out. And most importantly, I will see you next time.